We're all good people, and we really want to do the right thing. And I'm sure that nobody wakes up Purim morning and says, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to introduce a 15-year-old to their first drink and a lifetime of alcoholism. And nobody thinks that they'd like to help their friends who are struggling with addiction and in recovery programs to, God forbid, fall off the wagon and resume hard drinking. But don't live in denial. That's really what you're doing if you are providing teenagers with alcohol and you're surrounding your friends who are struggling with recovery, surrounding them with drinking on Purim Day. Go through the research about teen drinking, and two things really stand out. One is delaying the time, and the longer you delay the first drink that a kid has, the less likely it is that they're going to wind up with a real alcoholism problem. And the second thing that stands out is this concept of gateway drugs, and that is that cigarettes and alcohol are gateways, are portal to harder drugs, that very few people start hard drugs without having gone through this gateway. And when you provide a teenager with a drink, you're starting them younger and you've already walked them through that gateway to hell. Let's talk about the adults in our lives. How bad is alcoholism? The research in the general population is that about 1 in 12 people in America struggle with addiction of some form or another. And run the math. If you have a shul of 200 people, that means that about 16 of them are struggling with some form of addiction or another. Could you imagine how hard it is for an addict to deal with Purim and the drinking all around them, and you don't know who's addicted? Remember that. So the folks that you're offering drinks to and seeing who can down more of it, they might be struggling with an addiction, and that really might be the trigger to get them to a bad place again. Addiction is such a multi-generational tragedy where you have children and parents and spouses all living in terror of that knock on the door, God forbid, or that phone call about their addict who's not home right now. And for those of you who think that it's a mitzvah to get drunk on Purim, I really encourage you to listen to a 6-minute recording of a teleconference that Rav Shmuel Kamenetsky Shlita had with us at Project Yes in 2010, where he discusses the Torah philosophy on drinking. He says clearly that it's a sin to get drunk on Purim. He discusses the halachic ramifications of Adla Yada and Chayiv and Ishla Besume, and he has a fascinating conversation about his own struggle with cigarettes and the addiction of nicotine when he started smoking as a young man, and how terrified he is to get near a cigarette, even though he stopped 45 years ago, because he remembers that tug. You can access this recording on my social media, or you can go to our website, thebrightbeginnings.com. Look on the right side where it says Purim Drinking, Gateway to Hell. Click on that for that recording and many other resources. So why am I making this recording, and what am I asking you to do? First of all, I'm asking you to just be aware, to just be cognizant of the fact that not everything is what it seems to be. And the second thing is, I'd like you to really consider having alcohol-free Purim parties at home, or at least only put out wine, drink in moderation, get the bottles off the table when children come around collecting charity. Tell kids who are drugged that you're not contributing to them. This is all an important part of the modeling that we as adults do. And the second part of the modeling is our institutional life and Purim there. And thankfully, far more shuls and schools are having great, enjoyable, lively, dry Purim parties. And this should be encouraged. And in every way possible, by word and deed, encourage those who are making the tough decision to get out ahead of the curve and stop the drinking in our public spaces. Parents and educators are such important role models. When we show that we can have a great time without alcohol, we're modeling great behavior, and it is such horrible behavior. It's such a horrible message to our children when they see the adults in their lives, especially their educators, getting drunk. You know, going dry might seem to be extreme, But think of what we're asking our children to do in the arena of peanut allergies. Entire schools are going peanut-free because a few kids have allergies. JetBlue, their entire airline, went peanut-free. What's that message? We're telling people with allergies, if you have an allergy, we're going to surround you with a safe space. Shouldn't we be doing that for the people in our community who are struggling with addiction? Shouldn't we be creating a safe space around our children where it becomes unthinkable to give a child alcohol? This is what we need to do as a community, and this is what we need to do as parents. Purim is a time for inspiration, for celebration, and for prayer. I could think of no greater prayer than to say, Hashem, we're doing what we can to create a safe space around your vulnerable children and adults. And that's chus and that merit. We ask that you help us, your children, and answer all of our prayers. Best wishes for a meaningful, enjoyable, wonderful, and safe Purim. Thank you very much.